and karibu to the very first episode of Tule and Seki, where everyone is a hidden chef. I am so excited. So at Tule and Seki, I'll be showing you the type of recipes you go to restaurants for, like wait for hours exhausted. I'll be showing you how to make it in the comfort of your own kitchen. You have the right ingredients, a functioning kitchen, you're good to go. And on our very first episode, we are going to be making chicken wrap. Are you excited? I am. Let's get started. As I said earlier, we'll be making chicken wrap today. And what do you need as ingredients? Of course, let's begin with the dough. You need 4 cups of all-purpose dough, very well sieved. Don't forget to sieve your dough because it incorporates the air and makes it rise well. And the next thing we have is sugar. 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 egg, a pinch of salt, warm milk. Your milk has to be warm so that it helps the yeast to proof well. And water for tasting the yeast. I'll show you how we're going to taste the yeast, if it's authentic or not. And also dry yeast, a half a tablespoon, and 125 grams of margarine. And for the chicken marinade, we have mixed spice, oregano, chicken masala, tomato puree, and chili, garlic, and live chili. We also have yeast, capsicum, onions, and 3 pieces of chicken. So let's get started. So what do you need for chicken wrap? Let's start with the dough. You need 4 cups of very well sieved dough, and it has to be sieved because it will help when it comes to the rising of the dough. The next thing you need is 4 tablespoons of sugar. So the next thing you need is 1 egg and a pinch of salt. Milk, and it has to be warm. It has to be warm because it helps the dough rise. And also warm water. I'll show you how we're going to taste the yeast, if it's authentic or not. And also we have dry yeast, half a tablespoon. And margarine for the dough as well. That's 125 grams of margarine. So let's go to the chicken. So what do we need to marinate our chicken? Of course, we have 3 pieces of chicken. So what our spices are, it's chicken masala, mixed spice, oregano, tomato paste, and chili. Cheese, don't forget. This will add on to the taste, and I'm so excited. Onions, garlic, and live chili. So let's get started. So let's begin. We're going to start with our dough first. So how do you know if your yeast is authentic? First off, you mix yeast, sugar, and warm water. Let me show you how to. So you put it in a bowl. Take 1 teaspoon of sugar and add warm water. So you mix until it becomes the right consistency. So this is the way you get to know if your yeast is authentic. If you skip this part, trust me, you're gonna mess up your whole recipe because you need dough that rises. You need dough that is soft and looks good, you know? Because if you don't do this process, if your yeast is maybe expired and you use expired yeast, your dough will be flat. And who wants flat dough? I don't. So after you mix it, you have to mix it very well. The reason why I put sugar is because yeast needs food. And the food helps it to rise. So yeah. Cover it up for 5 minutes. And I'll show you how it looks like when it's authentic yeast. So let's put the warm water aside. We go to the dough itself. So the dough was already sieved. The dough was already sieved off camera, so it has to be sieved because sieving incorporates air and the dough becomes softer and more, tasty. So the first thing we do is we mix the dry ingredients first. Sugar, and the pinch of salt. So let's mix it up. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. It's okay. Cooking is part of child play. So you have to get your hands dirty and enjoy the process. Personally, I prefer using my hands because I get to tell the right dough's consistency. And I actually enjoy doing this with my hands. So it's whether you prefer using a roll, whether you prefer using a mixer, it's up to you. But personally, I prefer using my hand. So the next thing you do after mixing the dry ingredients, we go to the margarine. 125 grams of margarine. So what do we do with this? Rubbing in. Well, of course, when you rub in margarine, it gives your dough a very rich taste. You can use butter or you can use margarine. Either way, you're good to go. So you mix it very well. Make sure once you're done mixing, the flour looks like breadcrumbs. So take your time, don't rush. Pastry doesn't go well with rushing. So you mix your dough with margarine, take your time. So don't worry, after we're done mixing it, we'll transfer it to the counter where we'll have enough space to mix. Take your time, don't rush. So every time you mix, you can tell that your dough really incorporates well with the margarine. So take your time. The more you rub in, the more your dough has the breadcrumb appeal. I'm loving this. I love it. It's a very simple recipe. So long as you do it the right way, you use the right ingredients, the right size of ingredients, you're good to go. So this dough approximately makes 8 chicken wraps. So you can imagine only 4 cups and you get 8 chicken wraps. Yep. So if you go to a supermarket or you go to a restaurant, you buy 1 chicken wrap for, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine the price. Just buy the ingredients, make it at home, you're good to go. Your family loves you more. Okay, make a well in the middle. So why are we making the well in the middle? So that we put the wet ingredients inside, so that it becomes easier for us to mix 1 egg, like we mentioned earlier, and the warm milk. Now we come to the very crucial part. Is our yeast authentic? So let's give it time. Let's give it time to raise. So in the meantime, always take your time when you're doing pastry, because the more you rush, the more your bread or your pastry will be messed up. So in this case, you can tell if your yeast has bubbles on top of it, that's authentic yeast. So we can use this. Now the mixing bits. You start in the middle where the warm milk was. Work your way outside. Take your time, because if you don't, your dough will be pathetic and it will not raise when it's in the oven. So take your time, mix it very well. Rub it in. The same process you were doing when you're rubbing it in with the margarine. Use the same process when you're rubbing it in with the dough. Ensure that you use the right amount of water or milk. You can supplement it with the milk or water. So ensure you use the right amount, because if you don't, your dough is going to be either too hard or too soggy. So we don't want that, right? It's a lot of time being used, so we don't want to waste so much time. So once your dough is perfectly mixed, so we can transfer it to the kitchen counter. So yeah, I don't fear getting my hands dirty. Actually, I prefer it so that I know the right consistency and when ready, how my dough is ready and when to use it. So let's dust the kitchen counter, because we need more space. So let's transfer it there. Take out all your dough from the bowl. The waste. No waste in this kitchen. Okay, let's get started. So this is how we need our dough on the kitchen counter. So as you can see, we have more space. Take your time. Take your time. Don't rush, because if you do, no one will want to taste your chicken wrap. I almost said kitchen. So your dough is supposed to be soft and bouncy, not sticky. So as you can see, we are still in that juncture of a sticky dough. So in case you're the type of person who just doesn't like your hands getting sticky with dough, you can do this process, alternate with oil. So once you put the unga and the unga is mixing very well, you alternate with oil. So I'm going to do that shortly. I'm going to show you how you do it. So step by step. So I know you're wondering, so for how long are we going to do this dough for? Are we going to knead it for? I'll show you when. I'll show you how you know when your dough is ready, so that you set it aside to let it proof. And be very careful. Do not over add the flour on the dough, because it might tend to be hard. So just the right amount. That's why I prefer using my fingers, because I know when it's ready and I know the right amount to use. Yes, I enjoy doing this. I mean, cooking is very therapeutic for me, especially when I'm having a bad day and I just want my mind to relax, and you know, I just go in the kitchen, come up with a recipe and cook. And you'll see today I came up with a recipe. There was one time I was eating chicken wrap and I'm like, this is too plain for me. I need something spicy, something unique. So yes, you add the oil. Keep mixing. Don't be in a hurry. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. It's coming together, guys. It's coming together. Use all your energy. Put it into. It's a good workout. As you can see, it's becoming cleaner. Our mixing is becoming cleaner. That's when you can tell your dough is almost very well mixed. I'll show you how you check just in a minute. Of course, if you want a cleaner dough, add more oil. So guys, guess what? This is the very same way you make pizza dough. It's very same. But pizza dough is a little softer and a little on the stickier side. You can tell the dough is already bouncy and already soft. So keep going for approximately 30 minutes and you're good to go. Yes, so after 15 minutes of rolling this dough, you're supposed to know if it's ready, because yes, as you can see, very soft, very elastic. And how do you know if your dough is soft and elastic and ready to be cooked? Just put it there, bounces right back, bounces right back. So let's grease our bowl. So I'm supposed to put this in a very warm place for 30 minutes where it doubles in size before we start wrapping with the chicken, sorry. I don't know why I keep confusing those two words. So we cover it up in a bowl for approximately 30 minutes, or you could even go for 1 hour if you have time. But for me, I'm going to do 30 minutes. Cover it up very well for approximately 30 minutes. Put it somewhere warm where the yeast gets time to proof and the dough gets time to be softer. So while it proves, let's head to the chicken and marinate and fry. So as the dough is rising in a very warm place, you get to go to the chicken sector now, where you mix the chicken with spices and give it time to marinate. So let's mix the spices first. We have the mixed spice here. So you mix it in a bowl so that it becomes easier for you to just dip the chicken and rub it in. oregano spice, then chicken masala, then the tomato puree or tomato paste, then chili powder. So we put a little bit of garlic inside and cooking oil. And that is our marinade. You mix it very well, mix it. Ensure that it's very well mixed before you put in the chicken. And also when you marinate the chicken, you also need to give it time to marinate very well. You know, I actually prefer doing this whenever I make my chicken wraps. I actually prefer doing this overnight so that it marinates in the fridge the whole night. And that's how you get the marinade to go all the way to the bones. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that cool? Yeah, so mix it very well. Be very generous with the spices. As you can see, I love using my hands, you know. I have to get down and dirty. I don't mind. I don't mind because that is how I know I'm cooking. If I don't do this. So set it aside once you mix it. Make sure you mix it in every corner. By the time you're deep frying it, the marinade is well absorbed in the chicken. Already looks amazing. I like it. So it's your choice. If you don't want to put this all of the spices in your chicken, you can just use citric, live citric and salt and just deep fry it. But for me, I have to be extra and I'm spicy and I love spices. So I'll use all the spices. I wish you could smell this. It smells amazing. I mean, ooh, I love it already. It smells amazing and the color too marinates very well. Yeah, so let's set this aside. You can even put it in the freezer for it to absorb the marinade very well. So we set this aside for 10 minutes. Yes, and we're good to go. So let me show you how you make your chicken wrap sauce. So let's get started. The first thing you need is chopped onions, of course. So we need to stir this until it becomes golden brown before we start adding the other ingredients. So let's keep stirring till it's golden brown. So for the onions, you don't have to finely chop it because eventually it's going to be in the inside of the chicken wrap. So it's not going to be seen, it's only going to be tasted. So make sure your onions are golden brown before you add the capsicum. So here you go. So this automatically makes your chicken sauce more interesting, more delicious. Stands out more, of course. So for the capsicum, don't overcook it because it's supposed to have that crunchy taste, that crunchy feel when someone is eating it. So after the capsicum, we add garlic and chili. Garlic and live chili. Mix very well. Ensure that the garlic is well integrated in the mixture. To avoid your onions becoming too brown or black, you can add a little water. So the next thing we're adding is spices. the tomato puree and the chili, the mixed spice, chicken spice, and a little bit of oregano. So keep stirring till your mixture is very well incorporated. So in this mixture, you can be creative about it. You can even add bell pepper, the red and yellow bell pepper. You can even add tomato sauce or tomato paste or even sugar. It depends with what sort of taste you want to acquire. But for me, I just put tomato paste. So keep stirring. So be very careful not to serve raw spice. Nobody loves raw spice. I don't. So keep stirring, give it your spice time to cook. I usually have adding my salt after the spices so that I taste afterwards, because spices also have salt. So you add spice first, mix, then you taste. If the salt is not enough, then you can add a little more salt. So always follow that procedure, or else you'll have your sauce too salty. So add more water and stir for a while. Already looks yummy. Cover it for 5 minutes for the spices to marinate well with the onions and capsicum. So 5 minutes and you're done. So now we get to the part where we deep fry the chicken before we cut it into pieces. You remember we marinated it and put it in the fridge for 20 minutes for it to absorb the marinade. Now it's time to deep fry it. Whoops! That happens hazard in the kitchen, but you're supposed to be used to it. Okay. So you deep fry your chicken till it's golden brown. Then once it's ready, you cut it into tiny pieces where we'll wrap it in the chicken wrap. So we give it time. So make sure when your chicken is ready, it's crispy and golden brown. So let's turn it. So we give it time. So once one side gets ready, we turn it to the other side. So keep interchanging it till it's ready. As you can see, cooking requires patience. If you're not patient, then you'll serve people uncooked food or undercooked food. So let's give it time to be crispy. And it already looks yummy. I like it. So for this, you can go for the boneless chicken. It's more easier for you. But for me, I bought the ones with bones, which could still work. So you just deep fry it. Once it's ready, strip out the meat from the bone, and you're good to go. So our chicken is ready. You set it aside to cool down before we cut it into tiny pieces for the chicken wrap. Why do I prefer deep frying my chicken? Because I feel like deep frying it gives it that rich taste, and the fact that it's crispy inside a chicken wrap, I'm loving it. So once we're done with this part, let it cool down before we cut it into teeny weeny pieces. So voila, after 30 minutes, your dough is ready. So if your dough is not doubled in size, just know that your yeast let you down. So this is the fun part. I love to punch it down, let all the air out, But I like it. The consistency of the dough is amazing. The air is very well incorporated. So, So once you're done with that part, knead it a little bit. And as you can see, my dough is very, very smooth. And what I like to do is I dip my hand in oil when I do this part, this kneading part. Yeah, I like it. I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed. So for this dough, we'll divide it into 8 portions. Or you could even do more because it's a chicken wrap, so the size of your dough does not really matter so long as the dough is very smooth. So we can even do more. Depends which dough looks bigger. So what we can do, we can go subtracting from the bigger ones. I like the smoothness and the consistency of the dough. It doesn't even stick on my hand. It feels very smooth. It's very well done. Pat on my back for myself. So when it comes to pastry, you don't have to rush, because the minute you rush, everything goes falling down in pieces. All right, now so we have separated the dough. So we have separated the dough. We go to the part where we wrap the chicken and the sauce and the cheese inside the dough. Let's get started. All right, guys, so we're almost done. We're done with the dough. As you can see, divided it in equal portions. Then we're done with the chicken as well. We're also done with the sauce, and also we have the eggs ready to glaze. Let me get the cheese and also the cheese. So off we go. Before anything, I'd like to dust my oven pan, simply because if you don't do that, your dough will stick on the oven pan, and you don't want that mess. So once I've dusted, I set it aside, ready for trouble. Let's get started. So the first thing you do with your dough, press it on the kitchen counter. Make sure your kitchen counter is very well dusted so that your dough doesn't stick on the kitchen counter. Let's get rolling. So I usually do the oval shape because the oval shape is easier to roll. More like rolling chapati, but more in a more oval manner. Don't know if you understand that. Yeah. And our next step, the first thing you do after you've rolled it, spread your sauce. Second thing, the chicken. Then last but finally not least, cheese. So this is how you roll it. Start from the top, take the sides, and the other side, then roll it all the way. And that's how your chicken wrap looks like. So place it on the tray. Let's do it again just in case you didn't understand. Dust your kitchen surface or whatever you're using, make sure you dust it well. Oval shape. If you see it sticking on your wooden rod, just know you didn't dust it well. Yeah, so it's more like rolling chapati, but the shape is more oval. So we go again. The sauce. You can be generous with the sauce if you want. You can use minimum. It depends on your taste. Chicken. Cheese. Don't worry, I love me some cheese. I'm very generous when I put cheese in any pastry. So the same process. Roll it. Place it on the oven pan. So same goes for every other pastry there. Let's get going. Guys, the long-awaited journey has finally ended. We are on the last bit of the recipe where we glaze our chicken wrap with eggs. You can use egg yolk or just egg white or both. So for me, I use both. I don't discriminate. So what you do is you apply the eggs on the pastry, because when you put it in the oven, it gives you that golden brown shine. If you don't do this part, I mean, it's not gonna look very tasty. It's gonna taste tasty, but it's not gonna look tasty. So for this part, what I normally do is, after glazing, I use sesame seeds. I put it on top, or you can just put it like that in the oven. And imagine we are done. A very simple recipe. You don't have to go spend a lot of money buying it in a restaurant. You can cook it at home in the comfort of your kitchen. Yes, so make sure even the corners are well glazed, because every part that is glazed will look golden brown once it's in the oven. Yep. A very simple recipe, yet very tasty and very unique. Trust me, you'll not get this in any restaurant. Try it at home. Shtua wageni, wacha kupikia wageni ugali na sukuma ya kuchemsha. Siku moja unawashtua na chicken wrap. Hata familia, when you invite your family over. So be generous with the egg, because it will give that golden shine. Golden brown shine. Yes, and we're done. Easy peasy. Let's put it in the oven for 20 minutes, 180 degrees Celsius. And after 20 minutes, I'll show you the results. Guys, the moment you've all been finally waiting for is here. I'm so excited. So golden brown, so amazing, so delicious. Let me taste it once and for all. You know, I wish you were here to taste it with me, but don't worry, I can do the tasting for both of us. So you can see in the middle, let me show you the cheese, the chicken. I mean, ooh, delicious. Let me taste. Wow, amazing. Can't believe I made this in my kitchen. So can you? Delicious. That's it, guys, and it's a wrap from Tule and Seki with this amazing recipe, chicken wrap. So stay tuned for Udaku Pro Max, where me and my ladies will be eating this while we'll be doing some Udaku. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in again on our very next episode where we'll be cooking strawberry shake. From Tule and Seki, I'm Sekina Mwaka, signing out.